Lee's first day as a police officer. Chief Kang tore up the file into the mob as an undercover agent. At this time he met a Ding, who was also a Chinese brother. Every time he fought, he would get nervous and go to the toilet.
가자, 많다.
In order to make a name for himself as soon as possible, Lee dared to fight. The two of them fought all the way from the streets. They established a lifelong friendship. 8 years passed in a flash. With the help of Lee, Ding rose to the top. He became the third leader of the largest gang in Korea, the third leader of the Golden Gate. But he was still as cynical as ever. Every time he came back from a business trip, he gives his brother a fake watch. And every time, Lee immediately recognized. This time Ding came back because the Golden Gate boss was killed. Various forces were ready to move, and the second one has no real power. In reality, it's only the third Ding and the fourth two competition. Chief Kang decided to interfere with their election. Through the Go teacher, Lee received a new assignment. He angrily approached Chief Kang, undercover for 8 years, said he could quit once the chairman died. Now he has to wait for the new chairman to take over. Chief Kang threatened him with his unborn child and revealing his identity as an undercover agent. Lee was forced to continue working. Chief Kang began to implement his new world plan, stopping Ding at the airport, throwing Jack's criminal information to him, and said the police are willing to support Ding to rise to the top. Hope he can cooperate. But Ding refused. Internal matters. He did not want the police to interfere, but at the same time, he realized the timing of his departure from the country was so precise. There must be an undercover agent around him. So on the plane, he immediately asked someone to start checking Chief Kang's network of contacts. He also asked his men, called the 4 killers from Yanbian to Korea. Chief Kang continued his operation. He arrested Jack the same day, in the nick of time for the election. Jack was in prison. He must have thought it was Ding's doing, and Ding was the most sober. He knew the consequences of fighting within his own ranks. He came to find Jack when he returned home. But by now, Jack was already overwhelmed with anger. But Ding still didn't forget to ask his lawyer to get him out as soon as possible. On the other hand, he found Chief Kang. He gave him a box of lentil-set mooncakes. He hoped that he would not continue to interfere. But Chief Kang didn't want to be involved. Ding just returned to his car when he received the undercover information, and Lee was still unaware of it at the moment. He was dealing with the traitor in the gang. Lee was dealing with the traitor, pouring cement into a metal barrel, sinking into the sea, and he still doesn't know. His identity as an undercover agent was about to be exposed. Ding called him over. He told him to open the barrel in the back. It was his top operator, Go teacher. Lee was so scared that he was sweating. Ding handed him the undercover information. Inside were pictures of Mr. Go and Kang's picture. After Ding walked away, he immediately wiped his sweat. He continued to look through them. Ding was undressing while saying that there is an undercover agent inside. Lee was so scared, his hands were already out of control. He hurriedly turned to the last page. He saw that he was the one who was beaten by Ding, so he is also an undercover agent. Lee was glad that he was not there. In order to let the policewoman no more torture, he decided to finish her off himself. And the cunning Chief Kang threw the photo of his meeting with Ding to Jack. Jack was convinced that Ding had betrayed him. The next day he called his own lawyer. He knew it was an excuse for the police to kill him, but this time, willing to be this knife for the police, Chief Kang found Lee again. This time they bribed the second in command of Golden Gate. He has no real power, but he had a reputation. Chief Kang knew that if they got rid of one gammon, there'll be another one, so why not take the Golden Gate in his own hands? He wants Lee to be the boss of Golden Gate. Lee refused because his wife was about to give birth, but this time he had no choice because Ding got a hacker hacked into the police network. His identity as an undercover agent had been exposed, and his information in the police department has been deleted. Now he can only continue to work undercover. At this moment, on Ding's desk is Lee's police information. Faced with the lawyer's questioning, Ding didn't answer. Instead, he locked the information into the vault. Ding went to the underground garage. A car accelerated and rushed over. The other party was prepared. All the intersections were blocked. Under the protection of his men, Ding and a few people slowly retreat to the elevator. But when the elevator opened, it was full of people from the other side. Ding was forcibly dragged in. When the police arrived, only the dying Ding was left. The rest were killed by him. The elevator warrior became famous. And Jack didn't spare anyone, including Ding's lawyer and Lee's wife. But the police were prepared because Lee's wife was sent by Chief Kang to spy on Lee. At this moment, several fighters were surrounded by the police, and Lee's wife was in shock. Her water had broken. When Lee arrived, Ding's body was already full of tubes. The beatings came one after another. The wife miscarried and their child was lost. And at this moment, the second leader began to rise, using benefits to enlist several patriarchs himself and gathered a group of men. Soon Ding announced that he was dying. Before he died, Lee told everyone to get out. Ding gestured to him to come and sit down. From this point on in the film, Lee didn't say a word. Ding knows his identity as an undercover agent, did not reveal. Instead, he had the hacker to delete his information in the police station, deleted all his information, helped him to make an end. And Lee had a deep brotherly love for Ding, also really have a deep brotherly love. Before he died, Ding told him, in the safe, there was a gift for him. Ding's death was the last straw for Lee, the last straw. He didn't want to be controlled by others anymore. He came to Ding's office, opened the safe. What was inside? It was his police files and 2 fake watches. This time Lee did not dislike it. Instead, he took it with him. At Ding's funeral, Lee saw the Yanbian killer 4. His blackening officially began. The former big brother Jack, released for lack of evidence, and at this moment, no one came to greet. When he returns to his place, he was greeted by, it was Lee's men. Jack jumped to his death. On the way to the campaign, Lee was picked up by the second in command on his way, but halfway there, he came to a broken bridge. It turns out that the second master wanted to get rid of Lee, out of the control of the police, but his men had already been bribed by Lee. The second leader was knocked out and tied in the car and pushed into the sea. Now only 2 people are left. Still know his identity as a cop. In the secret base, Yanbian killer found Chief Kang. Chief Kang is old. He was killed by the killer. The other 2 assassins. They found the police chief at the red light, shot at random. At this moment, the door opened. Countless minions burst in. Lee went straight to the chairman's position. Since then, Golden Gate has been unified again. In the office, he burned his police officer's file. An undercover agent under duress finally sat in the position of the gangster. The characters in the play. There is no absolute black and white. Chief Kang is very resourceful, although he is scheming, but there is no human touch. Eventually led to the rebellion of Lee. Ding lived the most understanding life. He knew that the police were sowing discord. He still commissioned a lawyer, ready to fish out the opponent, because he understood the consequences of the snipe fight. To his brother, he also considered it a good intention. He cut the mess for Lee. Before he died, he was still thinking about him. So in this world, there is no such thing as black or white. There are only those like Lee, forced to be helpless. The movie New World represents one of the peaks of modern, one of the peaks of gangster movies. Several actors' acting skills is even more impeccable. The appearance of the Yanbian gang of 4 is definitely the finishing touch. We'll see you next time.